Yesterday we considered what James has to say about wisdom. For him, wisdom seems to be a way of being in the world, a way which recognizes that truth can be found in a variety of places, a way which understands that life is filled with ambiguity and uncertainty, and that quick, easy solutions are not always the best. It is a way of life that engenders peace. Today, we hear James talk about folly, and his words just might hit a little close to home. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your Daily Devotional for Friday, September 3rd, 2021. Yesterday's presenting issue was conflict. James sees wisdom as the opposite quality from those things which lead to conflict. Now he seems to shift gears very suddenly. But if we read carefully, he hasn't changed topics at all. The issue is still wisdom and its opposites, but today instead of conflict, folly, and a particular kind of folly at that. Listen to what he has to say about folly, and notice how he begins each part of this passage with the phrase, "Come now." Come now, you who say, "Today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a town and spend a year there doing business and making money." Yet you do not even know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, "If the Lord wishes, we will live and do this or that." As it is, you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. Anyone then who knows the right thing to do and fails to do it commits sin. Come now, you rich people, weep and wail for the miseries that are coming to you. Your riches have rotted, and your clothes are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver have rusted, and their rust will be evidence against you, and it will eat your flesh like fire. You have laid up treasure for the last days. Listen, the wages of the laborers who mowed your fields, which you kept back by fraud, cry out, and the cries of the harvesters have reached the ears of the Lord of hosts. You have lived on the earth in luxury and in pleasure. You have fattened your hearts in a day of slaughter. You have condemned and murdered the righteous one, who does not resist you. Wow. The contrast between wisdom and conflict seemed clear. Wisdom good, conflict not so good. But now he talks about commerce, about business, about planning for the future. This seems like just the sort of place where wisdom is most at home. Indeed, Jesus uses examples from business to illustrate the nature of discipleship. He counsels followers, for example, to make friends with filthy mammon. He speaks with seeming approval of people who are shrewd money managers. He reminds followers to count the cost of discipleship just the way a wise person counts the cost of a business venture before investing money. Sounds like wisdom and business go hand in hand, doesn't it? But where Jesus uses examples from the business world to illustrate things about discipleship, James is talking about what we love, what we value, what we trust. His point is that placing trust in wealth is to misplace our trust. It is very much like what Jesus says when he talks about the man who builds a bigger barn to store his wealth, only to see his life come to an end that very night. God says to this man, "You fool! This very night your life is being demanded of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be?" And then Jesus summarizes the lesson by saying, "So it is with those who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich toward God." Notice the little word in this passage. The wealthy man is addressed by God as, "You fool." That is exactly what James is getting at. It is quite one thing to be wise and prudent in one's business dealings. It is another thing altogether to place one's trust in these things. Like Jesus, James reminds his readers that earthly wealth is transitory at best. But he then takes one step beyond what Jesus says, though it certainly seems completely in line with what Jesus teaches generally. He says, "The wages of the laborers who mowed your field, which you kept back by fraud, cry out. And the cries of the harvesters have reached the ears of the Lord of hosts." So it is a kind of double jeopardy. Not only is it foolish to place one's trust in wealth, it also places one in another kind of peril, the temptation to underpay one's employees, to cheat them of their wages. And lest you think this doesn't happen today, I will tell you it happens every day. All of which is to say that wisdom is not only about a kind of peace, it is also about where we place our trust. The fool places his trust in wealth, in stuff. The wise one knows that God alone is worthy of our trust. Tomorrow, the reality of suffering and the importance of prayer. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.